Hello. G'day, Zombie Slayer. What's good? Hey, a lot of stuff. Back into the operation. How are you? How are things been? As I move shit, as I do every single stream, where I settle in and immediately move shit around. Static is back because reasons. That's weird. Hold on. Yeah, that's why the static is sticking around. I may need to just replace my XLR cable. I've had it for a very long time. That could ultimately be all it is. As I'm typing this, it's gone. It's super weird. It's weird that it does that. I might even replace my XLR cable anyway, just because my XLR cable is ancient, and that ultimately could be all it is. Like genuinely, could be all it is. Could be a bad XLR cable, or it could be nothing. But better to replace the XLR cable anyway. So weird. Such a weird thing. Where's the static come from? And Loki suggested it could have been like could just be buffering. Hydrate? I mean, I got tea here and I have water, so I'm pretty well hydrated. Thank you for that. Redeem that. You're redeeming that like as early as possible to get as much use out of it as you can. Hey, Linus. Hi, Mass. You're the person that accompanied tonight because everyone in the house went to the coast without you. Oh no! You're eating Uber Eats Indian food though. Ooh, that's pretty good though. That's a nice balance out, I think. I mean, that's a shame, but also nice to have you here with me. It specifically says make me take a sip of water, so take that sip of water. I did. I did. That's why I paused. Yeah, how are you, Linus? How you doing? How are things? Congratulations on LCA. Very well deserved. For those of you who don't know, Linus's um, is a short film that he worked on. Was chosen for LCA, Lights Canberra Action, a Canberra-based film festival. And yes, I'm trying to make the most of it. Fair enough. Yeah, I get that because I have put a 30-minute like buffer on it so that I'm not drinking too much water and need to take a pee break during the stream. That would be bad. I love when the VOD comes out. I'm just going to be responding to music that just isn't there. That's kind of great. Then people will be like, what's he getting to?" Can I guess what Indian food you are eating? I can give it a shot. Though I'm almost certain I'm not gonna do a good job of it because I'm never good with like names of foods. Uh, Chicken pakora. Do some people actually think that digital art drawing is very fucking simple? It depends. I know of some people who do discredit digital illustration, um, because it's done on a computer, and then certain processes are made more simple or have been simplified because of various reasons. But I think a lot of people equate that to it being easier. Picked up a water bottle, did not take a. I actually meant to. No, it's butter chicken. Shit! Should have known. Butter chicken's great. Fair enough, though, Linus. That's a good choice. Yeah, picked up my water bottle and then realized I have tea here that will go cold if I don't drink it. And I like tea. Uh, question for my tea drinkers. Do you drink tea with milk? And if you do, how much milk do you put into it? Because I've added milk to this one, so I only drink tea with milk if it's black tea, and I'm very particular about how much milk I put in because I'm part British. So as a result, there is this stigma around too much milk, I guess, that exists. You judge by color when you put milk. That's fair. Yeah, I do the same. Has to be like almost a tan kind of skin color. I think that's the limit to me. For me. Any lighter than that, and I'm like, ugh, no. No. Absolutely not. But then I'll drink it anyway. Because I'm not squiffy. But Linus, so you're a tea drinker? What kind of teas do you like? Do I drink bubble milk tea? I have actually never tried bubble tea. Bubble milk tea. Should I? Do you think it would be the kind of thing that I'd like? A very easy man to please, so ultimately the potential for that is pretty good. You drink a lot of green tea, black tea, same as coffee, but you don't have much knowledge of it. Fair enough. Yeah. I do the exact same actually. I'm a big green tea and black tea drinker. Hey, Simple Potato Farmer, how you doing? You made it. Welcome, welcome. It's okay. No need to apologize. Absolutely fine. You get here when you get here, and I'm happy to see you all the same. Never need to apologize because, like, for missing any kind of streams or anything like that. Absolutely no issue. You keep falling asleep before I do one. Well, I apologize for that. That's on me. How have I been? I've been very good. I have been taking better care of myself, and actually feels really nice. Like genuinely, it's been feeling really good to take proper care of myself. Which is such a weird thing to like say and like advocate for, but it's been very nice. No, it's not. It's okay. It's totally okay. You like just black tea with milk when maybe you're a bit hungry, but for a late night tired day, you like Earl Grey with slash without milk. Fair enough. That's a really good choice. I've currently got New York Breakfast. It's one of my favorite black teas. Genuinely, really, really lovely. Lovely with a little bit of milk. Self-care is good when others do it. Yeah, it's even better when other people do it, but it's also quite good when you do it. And I very much advocate for my chat taking care of themselves. Remember that, potato farmer. For coffee, you like the basics, mocha, cap, latte, etc. But chai latte for a tired day after a big meal. Very nice. Very, very nice. You can never self-care, but also you've seen some of the comic and it looks wonderful, man. Thank you so much, Potato Farmer. That's very kind of you to say. I am very happy with how it's turned out. And I'm very excited for a potential chapter launch soon. The stream schedule may be changing a little bit, so I may have talked about this maybe once or twice, but I am potentially going to be taking Mondays off from work to work full time on the comic, like some Mondays off. So for people who live on different parts of the world, that's a really perfect time for you to jump in and catch the stream because I will be streaming all day. But also it gives me more time to actually work on something that I just genuinely adore. It really does look wonderful, but last checked, mouse looks better. Hey, Zombie Slayer, flattery will get you everywhere, but I'm never prepared for it. I do appreciate all the kind words, of course. Blushing, blushing. Know how to make a mouse feel special. I think Zombie Slayer came into my stream one day and then was just straight up ride or die, which is great. I mean, Gramoose is special. Hey, well, you are a baddie. Yeah, one day, like, Zombie Slayer showed up in my stream and then he was just ride or die. And I really appreciate that. I love it. Love that kind of commitment. Completely unprepared for it, but I love it all the same. Oh, jeez. What do you mean, ride or die? Oh, is that not like? So that's an expression I use quite a lot. So ride or die, I use in a term that's basically like you meet someone and you're just like, yep, I do this. Like, gonna support them till the end, even if that means my death. And that's what the term. I think it's like a bikey term, and it refers to only you'll die for Gramoose only when you're awake though. That's fair. I wouldn't expect you to die for me while you're asleep. What have I gotten us into? Yeah, I think it's a bikey term, basically. You ride for your brothers or die for them and stuff like that. But I love the term. It's like ride or die. Oh, okay. Well, yes, I've heard of the expression, but you didn't know it was ride or die. That's fair enough. I've only ever heard ride or die. If you're passed out, you'll only wake up cranky like a crab. That's fair. As we all well know, crabs are the crankiest of the crustaceans. Oh, you mean you didn't know in what way you were ride or die? That's fair. I didn't elaborate, did I? I was very vague about that point. You kind of just showed up and you were just like, yeah, this guy's all right. Gonna stick with it. I think you jumped into a stream when I was playing Dead Space and I was just all over the place. So I do think it's a very hilarious point for you to have found me, like found my stream in. You misread my chat, Mouse? Probably. Oh, didn't know how you were right or die. Yeah, I did definitely misread that. Yes, the Gramoose way. I'll skim. I'll skim chat. And every so often I just misread words. Because I'm stupid. I love Nightbot always showing up. Like, it always feels kind of like awkward, their chat, like, just pop in every time, like, it just reminding us that there's a Discord. I just love that. It's really dumb. Also, sorry if you're silent playing a game, but also Mycelium, good. Mycelium is good. Mycelium is great. Just before the stream, I was actually tempted to buy a bomber jacket that had a bunch of like embroidered mushrooms on it, but then I noticed that the shipping was pretty like skew whiff. So they were like, sometimes shipping just goes like shipments just go missing, and it's like, ah, cool. I'm not ordering this then. E-shroom. Be a shroom. One day. One day. I'm liking the sound of that. Eh. That's so dumb. Didn't recognize this song for a moment. And again, people watching the VODs who will have no idea what I'm singing. Guess what? You never will. Mouse, do you remember the Dust District mission of Dishonored 2? Absolutely, where you have to capture Paolo or the High Overseer to get the solution to the Jindosh lock. I do. I do. And I love that mission because it's just like it gives a really good background to the world of Psychonos. Sorry, that's my mug. Just having a little bit of tea. Don't mind me. Had a weird kind of tickle in my throat all day. Been quite annoying. So I'm hoping this tea will really like take care of that. Well, you can actually do it without capturing either Paolo or the Overseer. And at the end of 2, you see them working together. Ah! I didn't know that. That's cool. I do like that it's given you like because there's a non-lethal choice as well, where you can just put them in, send them working in the mines as well. So I like that there's a option that's even more peaceful than, like, even more non-lethal than that. That's cool. I didn't know that. That's really interesting. And I tell you what, that area also, the Dust District, there's a tattoo parlor in game in the Dust District, and some of the tattoos are so beautiful that I'd actually really love to get a tattoo from Dishonored, but from that tattoo, like the tattoo parlor's designs, I would love to get a tattoo of one of them because they are so cool. They're like these beautifully intricate like crow's head designs and things like that. Your own personal Dishonored nerd at your service does a really fancy bow. I appreciate that. I bow back. Give you a little bow. That's super cool, and I like that a lot. I think people dismiss Dishonored 2 too easily because it's got some details like that that are so cool. And I find like the Jindosh uh, non-lethal takedown really fascinating because it's like when you do it and you wipe his memory and his intelligence, I felt like bad. I genuinely felt bad at first, and he was like, "No, like world-changing genius, it will be lost and stuff like that." And he's like arrogant about his own intellect till the end, but then as a result, he also becomes kinder after he's been made like stupefied, which I found to be, like in the end, that was a good thing. Yeah, get a tattoo that is an actual tattoo in a video game. That's a cool idea. Yeah, I adore those tattoos. They're so cool. And I'd actually play Dishonored 2 again just to look at them again. Hold up. How in the good name of fuck do people discard 2? I know. I've heard people go, "Oh, it's just more of one," which one, how is that a bad thing? And two, people are like, it's a boring extension of one. And I'm like, you kidding? It's beautiful. It's like a much more beautiful game, and I get that like some of the missions are a bit like drawn out, but like it's just more of one, which is not a bad thing. I know. It shocks me too. Shocks me to my core. Sickens me, if you will. People are fickle, discarding the beauty that is Dishonored too. Good grey heat. I love Dishonored too. So good. Is it my favorite of one, like between one and two? I don't know. Genuinely, I don't know. I love them both equally, I think. Yeah, more of one. Let's go with that. I'm sorry, did Dunwall not look depressing as fuck when Karnaka is this absolutely beautiful fucking place? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, more of one. Oh, and one. Oh, and in one we could shop for items during the mission, right? Oh wait, that was only introduced in two. Yes, you could buy stuff from Griff in one, but that's only for two missions. That's a bad opinion to just discard two. I absolutely agree. I really like two. And I think because I also know like before Elden Ring came out, people were like discarding that as like, oh, it's just big Dark Souls. And it's just like, no, 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 no. You can't say shit like that. Just big Dark Souls. It's like, yeah, and I'm gonna enjoy it all the same as big Dark Souls. I mean, okay, it's not perfect, but what game is? Yeah, exactly. No reason to discard it or discredit a game just because it's not perfect or not what you want as well, which I think people are so easy to jump to. It's not a game that they like, so as a result, they have to find a way to validate their dislike of something. Like, you don't have to like it, but don't shit on people's parade, just because they do. You're allowed to like stuff that other people don't like, or dislike things that people do like. Don't be an asshole about it. Stupid people with even dumber opinions. Yeah, yeah, pretty much. 'Cause Dishonored 2 is great. It's just more of the first game. Oh, really? Yeah, because in one we could craft bone charms, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty, like, small change, but I do definitely get where you're coming from as well. As an avid defender of 2, I agree. 2 is great. 2 is really good and a really like nice improvement on 1. Like just in multiple facets. Maybe 2. But to be honest, people don't have to enjoy it if you respect it for what it did. But didn't think it was the best, then okay, fair. But don't just throw it away like a napkin. Good lord. Yeah, no, I fully agree. I do. It's dumb to try and discredit something just because you didn't enjoy it in the same way that the people who do enjoy it did. Okay, that's Dogen colored. And Ratchet by extension, but Ratchet wasn't very hard to color in, it was just his hair. Wow, suddenly raining here. Raining crazy here now. Oh, lucky you. I'd love for a little bit more rain, honestly. But that is also weird. People don't even have to think of it as their favorite, but don't just say it's more of the first game. Yeah, absolutely. To work that people really need to work on just maybe being just like a little bit more okay with people enjoying things. Rain here is like that too. That's fair. Here in Adelaide, you can kind of really like you can really kind of tell when rain is coming. But we also like Adelaide is by the sea, so as a result, we're just like we could kind of very easily tell because there is a certain horizon that doesn't have any more like country to it, so it's just seaside, which I do love. But yeah, you just like there's a storm coming because when it rains here, it rains hard to the point it will semi flood a street. Shit, that's intense. Rain. Where I where I'm at, just the front of your house gets flooded because the sewer grate sucks. Yeah, I have a shitty sewer grate as well. I have 2 shitty sewer grates, and both of which get filled pretty quickly, so it ends up flooding anyway. I definitely get that pain. Dishonored 2 is just more of one, has more powers, can do now powers, can choose who to play as. Ah, yes, just like Dishonored 1. But do people really think that? I don't think they think it like that. I think they're just more like, it's dumb because like we've had multiple Call of Duties and stuff, and multiple like Assassin's Creeds, for example, and you never really hear those complaints. But Dishonored does it once. Like Dishonored creates a game in the same universe once, and people are like, "Oh, it's just like Dishonored One." Like, I mean, yeah, it's supposed to be to a certain extent. The things that you're criticizing, it's kind of supposed to be like the previous in that respect.
If it was too much of not like one, people would still complain. Yeah, people complain anyway, and that is really the essence of the truth about it, really, about the complaints about Dishonored 2. They were gonna complain anyway. So it's like, what's the point? What's the point in giving them that power, basically? They'll just complain either way. Freaking people. Can be great, but they can also suck. Sometimes. Be real lame sometimes. Oh, Mouse, we were talking about Dishonored's world being dark and something you love, but that is quite grim, is that when you take down Luca Abel in his gardens, there is just a dead maid with no context, no notes, nothing of the sort. You just see a dead body there, and for some reason you like that. Yeah, it's very like nice, like soft world building in that you can tell that Duke Abel is just a horrible, spoilt little bastard. And I think if I remember correctly, it's very heavily implied that he killed his father to get, the dukedom. Uh, and, you know, so like you don't really get to see a lot of what he does, but so much is very strongly implied in a way that is natural and and enjoyable to like unfold as a player. Mouse, in Edge of the World mission, did you find a note about people stealing fruits from Luca Abel? I think so, yeah. I kind of remember something along those lines. Give me a moment. I might. Oh, and his father and Aramis Stilton were had an affair. That I didn't realize, but that's cool. Give me a moment. I'm just gonna go quickly turn my light on and shut my blinds. Okay, I'm back. So if you go to the backyard of Luca Abel's royal palace and you see the fruit stealers, and they are dead as they are bound to a wheel in the shape, a wall in the shape of a wheel. Ah, yes, I do know that. I remember seeing like rich people were like shooting at them or something. Something along those lines. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, nasty. I remember that like really cemented my distaste of the people who surrounded themselves around Luca. They're like nasty bastards. Like really horrible. got to ask Linus if you're still there. How was the LCA screening? Because I saw that you went to that as well. I've always missed it. I've always ended up accidentally missing it. Either if I when I was in Canberra, I always like kind of missed it, or I moved and so as a result couldn't go to see it. But how was it? It always looks really nice, like good fun and stuff. It's the sort of thing I remembered. Yeah, there's some really good world building in oh Jesus, in Dishonored too, and a lot of it is done through either notes or like subtle world building, which I do really like. And I do think Dishonored 1 did that as well, but not to the same degree, I think. Just because it was a newer game, so it didn't have that quite as much freedom to do so. But you really see like the world has expanded a great deal. The second one. Not just Karnaka, or Karnaka, but the rest of the world, like there are certain continents that are unexplored because of weird mystic reasons, things like that. Environmental storytelling too, yeah, exactly. Awesome. It's super cool and it's very nice, like writing wise, like world building wise, it's awesome, but then also just story wise, it's really interesting because it does make you feel like a little piece of a bigger puzzle. Yeah, Pandysia, that's what I thought. Yeah, the Pandysian continent. And I know Sokolov has explored like a little bit of it, but beyond that, not much. No one can explore too far. And I like that too, because like Disco Elysium does something quite similar with the world building, and there's like if you actually like engage with the world enough, you learn things about it that can actually be quite confronting. So in Disco Elysium, you kind of learn that the world is ending. Slowly but surely it's going to end. Ah, stretch. Thank you. I will do that. Starch them bones. Ugh, getting starchy. But yeah, you find out that the world is sort of ending. Not quickly, but slowly but surely it's ending, and there's nothing the people can do about it. And the people who know about it have just accepted it. And the people who don't know about it just go about their lives. Um, and it's like this weird, dire kind of realization that you can have in the game where you're just like, oh shit, like nothing that we do in this world will make too much of a difference. It's just, it is what it is. And it is like, I think it's an existentialist or nihilistic perspective. And it's really cool, fascinating. Like, it's a fascinating thing to explore that most people wouldn't tread because it is so dark. Granny Rags went to Pandysia with her husband, and for whichever reason, she went crazy. Yeah, shit. Pandysia, the mysterious continent, where a lot of bad shit goes down. Well, only bad shit goes down. All you ever hear about it is just bad shit. If you look at a map of Pandysia, you can see almost exactly where the rat plague originated from. Oh shit, I did not know that. Really? That I did not know, nor realize. Yes. A few things. Oh wait, again. Bods, they're not gonna know what the fuck I'm doing. Give it about scatting. That's just a song that they cannot hear. Ladies and gentlemen, that's because I do not want to get a copyright strike. Those of you who are watching VODs on Twitch, or eventually will soon be on YouTube, watch them live, because then you can hear the music that I'm listening to. Didn't mean to zoom in. Fine. Absolutely. Actually not a problem. I swear. Doesn't matter. I will not apologize for enjoying my music. VOD viewers, fuck off. No, I don't actually mean that. I love that, like, just being needlessly antagonistic to my viewers in my chat. Needless. It's just needless. Let me enjoy some of my tea. If you'll also notice, I've left the comic panel section to the side open, so that you can kind of get a look at some of the pieces that are done. So that also you can like see the scope of the comic more broadly. So to the left, you'll actually see the tabs, and I used to just close that anytime I started the stream, but I'm now actually thinking about leaving it open so that you guys can see like slowly develop and build each chapter and how far we've progressed. So I thought that would be a nice thing to do. What else am I forgetting? There's a background here, which I think are trees. Ooh. Speaking of Pandysia being awful, this verbatim from the Dishonored wiki. When looking at the grammatical structure, pan meaning everything, similar to Pangaea, yeah. Dis meaning bad, oh shit. Similar to dystopia, the name Pandysia would mean something akin to all that is bad, or more humorously, everything here sucks. That's pretty great. That's that's a level of effort you did not need to provide, but I appreciate that you did. I love it. You're welcome, Mouse. Fuck you, the fucking love Dishonored. Dishonored's great. It's a great thing to love. I respect that fully. I used to be hugely into the Elder Scrolls in high school. So much so that people knew me as the Elder Scrolls kid at my school. So I get it. I get that love for a game. I don't care for the Elder Scrolls anymore, really. But I used to. What do you mean I didn't need to provide? You mean? Wait, what? What do you mean? What do I mean? You didn't need to provide. Confused. I'm ever so slightly confused. I will admit my focus really does go to the comic as I'm coloring, so I may say stuff that I don't even remember. The level of effort that you don't need to provide, and I thank you for that. That does sound like something I would say for sure. Oh my god, no. This is one of those things that I've said and I wasn't paying attention to what I was saying. Um, but I think, oh, for your Pandysia continent. No, oh, so um, I wasn't necessarily referring to you specifically, but I'm like the fact that they've created a name for Pandysia, which is from like has Latin connotations to a meaning that basically explains what it is. I find really fascinating, and I do find it is like a good like a level of effort that they don't need to provide, but I do appreciate. That's what I mean. It's not memory. It's not a memory thing. Hey, Nexitai also, by the way. Link from Legend of Zelda. It is, yeah. I thank you for telling me that. That's what I mean. For informing me of that. So here's the thing. It's not a memory issue. It's because I'm drawing, I'm not paying attention to what I'm saying. So when you remind me of what I've said, like I know the basic gists of what I say, but then ultimately the contents of what I'm saying, I'm less aware of what I'm saying than you guys are. Use wordage and brain mass. Yeah, it's all the way you read my comment and panned away from the character. Yeah, well, I'm currently working through the colors and stuff. Colors, the character is all colored in. That's the thing. The, that's oh that no, I thought you meant the music, which was Legend of Zelda, not Link. No, just a hunter. Just a hunter. And this is a song from Over the Garden Wall. I know you weren't talking about the song now that I realize it, but like, it is, and it's great. You haven't seen Over the Garden Wall? You should watch it. Great, amazing. Your luck. On mute. Have a fun time. No issues there. Next. Have a peaceful evening. Thank you for the lurk. Zoom out so I can get a look at what needs to be filled in before I do anything else. Mouse, is it okay if you say something about Dishonored Death of the Outsider that connects to 2 but is not related to story? Yeah, sure, go for it. I do not mind spoilers for Dishonored. I think I have played about as much as I can expect to play of it, so I'm happy to be spoiled. Stuff. If that's what it is. If not, it's just. Oh no, let's not fill that with color. Fuck, is my eraser that big? So I think the last thing I worked on in Clip Studio is the Dead Space poster that I'm currently working on for you all. As we finish Dead Space, I am working on a poster that my community can really have as like a little bit of a commemoration of finishing the game. Just worked out like the image and the design. So I'm very excited to actually get that finished. You can find the Luca Abel self-portrait and someone has bought it and they basically say, I've thoroughly inspected this from the type of paint used to the framework and I've concluded that this is indeed not the original copy of Luca Abel's self-portrait. It's very obviously a decoy or something. That's cool. That's super cool, because I think the non-lethal takedown of Luca Abel is that you replace him with a decoy. So if that's like a reference to that, that's super fucking cool. If not, then I'm maybe reading too much into it. Nice callback to 2. Subtle and cool. Ah, yeah, cool. Yes. That's excellent. Do I have a night sky in this frame? No. Ooh, you never thought of it that way? Ah, man. Well, I don't know if that's like it. I could definitely be reading way too much into it, but if that were the case, that's super cool. I'm gonna just quickly jump back to a previous page. Give me a moment. I need to collect some night sky color. There. Sweet. Thank you, previous panel. Actually, maybe gonna just make it slightly darker. And desaturate it ever so slightly, just a little bit. But at least someone thinks that the real painting we see in 2 is fake. That much is true. Yeah. Yeah, which is cool. Man, I don't know what I'm gonna... So, does everyone... I mean, I don't know if everyone has a public holiday tomorrow. But we do here in Adelaide. Not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm kind of like... I'm just like... I just piss about in the house. Might draw more of the comic. Might just draw stuff. Just draw shit. go to the gardens or something like that and draw. Though recently, because we've had Fringe on, I've gotten really sick of the Fringe. Like, I'll be honest. I'm fucking done with all these tourists in Adelaide. I'm kind of over it. Not that it's a bad thing, but I'm just like, oh god. The roads are bad now because people don't know how to drive in Adelaide, things like that. It's just like, ugh, alright. Bit of a pain in the ass. Okay. Nice blue. Too close. Elephants. Elefante. Getting the carpal tunnel syndrome. No, third thing. Did you ever tell me about Wyman into and how they are related to Emily? I know about Wyman. Because Wyman is Emily's like lover. There's a message. There's a letter from him or them. I think it's a him. Can't remember. But I remember the letter in Dunwall Tower. Beyond that, not a not a great amount of memory for them. Then again, related lovers and stuff, especially in a royal family, not completely unheard of. Very common for the old keep the lineage strong kind of thing. In it done to death in Game of Thrones and real life with royal family and stuff like that. Yeah, it's her lover, but we don't know if it's a woman or a man. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it's quite like intentionally vague or intentionally mysterious. So Emily could be gay or straight. They are also part of what's called the League of Protectors, whose sole purpose is to protect the royal protectorate and emperor slash empress. Right. Huh. Fascinating. Also, lovely like tradition of the empress falling in love with their protector, one of their protectors. They also have military training, so they are pretty badass. And they once saw Dowd use his powers and didn't even flinch at the sight. That's fucking baller. Knowing Dowd, knowing Dowd and his abilities, that's awesome. Well Dowd, Master Assassin. Feels so weird to say. Not weird, but like it's just funny because I have in this comic Dogen, the Master Assassin. They're both D-named Master Assassins. I never thought about that, despite Dishonored being one of my favorite games. Definitely wasn't influenced by Dishonored with Dogen. Do you actually want to know the truth? I was actually more inspired by, not more inspired, but I was inspired by uh, Psychonauts, first Psychonauts with Dogen. So those of you who have played Psychonauts, I assume you've seen a map of Dishonored's world. Yeah, I have a vague memory of Dishonored's world map. Those of you who have played not Dishonored, Jesus. Those of you who have played Psychonauts will know who Dogen is. Dogen is a little boy who wears a tinfoil hat, and he believes that the squirrels are plotting against him, and he's really like paranoid about that. First time I ever played Psychonauts, I was like, Dogen is a really good name, and so I held on to the name Dogen for a very long time, and then I had an assassin, and I was like, Dogen would be a great name for an assassin. Damn, you didn't even think of it in that way. The Empress and her bodyguard falling in love. It's only now that you realize that's what Jessamine and Corvo did. Yeah. Close proximity. You have this strong, capable defender. I mean, with Corvo, it was gonna just happen. Clearly. That's a man who just drips with charisma. Not in the first game, of course, because silent protagonist, but like, it is like, I do find now that you've told me that about Wyman, it's a fascinating kind of connection there. That there seems to be a habit or a pattern of protectors becoming lovers of the Empress. And again, with the close proximity, it's not at all surprising, but it is interesting, I think. That's what that grey mouse brain does. It finds these connections in games, these connections and foreshadowing and stuff like, not foreshadowing, implications. Story-wise implications. That brain's good for. And drawing. Not good at talking, good at finding implications and drawing. And how good Corvo is with his hands. Jessamine must have been in love in the first days. Oh god, yeah, probably. The way he spins that sword between his fingers. Like, you know. Filthy. Well, he's got two swords, but you know what I mean. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Absolute rot. Absolute bloody filth. I love it. Fine. figuring out what needs to be filled in, what colors need to. I might actually need to jump back to previous page to grab specifically some colors, specific colors. First fill in. They shouldn't be yellow. Be more like cream colored. Way too close. I don't need to be. Looks colors. It's way too bloody close. Lunatic. Sent me 2 pictures in Discord about Dishonored. For the second picture, read the 3rd bullet point, then look at the first picture. Hold on, we check. Third dot. A small X sign can be seen away up the major river in the south of the continent. The writing above says rat plague origin. Looking in air now. That's super cool. That's super cool. I'm super into that. Ugh. I love it. I didn't even realize that, but that's so cool. The gasp is hilarious. I do it all for you guys. It's all performative. I didn't know that, and it makes a lot of sense, but I never, like, it's one of those things I just not given thought to. But it makes perfect sense that the rat plague would almost certainly have originated somewhere like Pandacia. And it's all fake too, you know. Wait, what? Oh, the gasp, yeah, not the fact about Pandacia. Yeah, the gasp is, yeah, fake. But, like, it's super cool that there is that much detail put into stuff like that. And there is an origin to where the rat plague started, which in the world of Dishonored was this huge period of time that affected pretty much everyone. Rich, poor. It was affecting everyone during a period of time. You know, like Jessamine, Jesus Christ. Jessamine's reign was overshadowed by the rat plague, and basically like her actions during the rat plague, and then admittedly the new overseer or the regent like taking over huge historical landmarks in Dishonored 2. Well, it's fascinating to know where it came from as well. Not given thought to. What you don't like Dishonored. Hey man, I'm a big fan of Dishonored. I'm not I'm not that big of a fan. I just not thought about it. I think I was like I never like given thought to where the rat plague originated. Because I would have just assumed um yeah, like the Black Plague, it was kind of caused by the filth of the streets, or started by the filth of the streets, and spread through pestilence, such. That's a joke about assholes who think you need to know everything. I know, I totally got where you're coming from. But I was also like, I just not thought about it. And now that it's been brought to my attention, it makes perfect sense. And the plague only happened for 2 years of Jessamyn's 10-year reign. Yeah, exactly. But it was this huge, like huge thing, and I think like the death toll was monumental, like monolithic, and as a result, just had long-lasting effects. Very strongly highlighted like the disparity between rich and poor, which was huge in Dishonored 1, and I guess Dishonored 2, of course, to an extent. Must have been an astounding death toll. Yeah, absolutely. But like, yeah, it really highlighted the inequality in class as well, because even though both rich and poor were dying from this, it was only the poor who were being like forcibly taken from their homes, and Sokolov was allowed to experiment on poor people. And then you go to like the Warrens, I think it was called, or like the Ratways, where the poor people, like where the poorer community live, and it's just a breeding ground for the rat plague. And I found that really fascinating because, you know, even in the wealthy communities, they kind of just continued on like nothing had happened, but just outside their gates, people were being executed and like burned for showing signs of the plague. And their houses were being locked up and, you know, and things like that. And they were like sent into forcible quarantine. And not like to get better, just to die. And it's really grim but fascinating, like a fascinating exploration of that. Alright, gotta do that thing I was talking about. Jumping to a previous page to grab some colors. Oh, I forgot. One of the toys is Sossig. Oh my goodness, how could I forget Sossig? My god. Don't tell Lumen. Don't tell Lumen that we're missing Sossig. I'll draw him. I'll draw them in. A sweet boy Sossig. Actually, that's a way better setup. I didn't realize I could turn my mic to a certain angle, and now as a result I can actually see more of my drawing pad, which I couldn't before because I'm an idiot. And I think I've stated this many times. Forgot Sossig. Sweet Sossig. Coming soon, 2024. B plushies and Sossig plushies. We love Sossig here on the Rat Baby streams. Mouse, so the regenters are a group of people who believe that the Lord Regent's law and such should come back. Some of these people are those who were killed by Grim Alex, aka Dr. Hypatia's other personality, yes. So that way, since those who disagree with Emily's reign aren't just nobodies, but instead are those who actively hate her, it further cements the idea she or Corvo is responsible for the murders. Yeah, hence the crown killer-like mysteries. In the mission Clockwork Mansion, you find a Regenter's outpost. Let me remember back to that, because I think that does ring a bell. That's why you see a painting of the Lord Regent in that building. That makes sense. Holy shit. Yeah, it's super cool, and it would make perfect sense that there would be people who actually still strongly believed in what the Regent did, because admittedly, he probably appealed to a certain demographic of people. Likely the wealthy. Now, jump into the phase. Line work, yep. Gotta draw Sossig. Sweet, sweet Sossig. He's so sweet. Sweet, sweet Sossig. It's the building with the safe where you have to move cups away from the chalkboard, and the chalkboard has the number for the safe code. Ah, right, yeah. That does ring a bell. Ring a bell in the old noggin. The old noggy. Oh, pardon me, sorry. Sorry, audience, didn't mean to burp. Let's add a few more Sossigs. Just another example of my ambition outweighing my desire to get this done efficiently. They also wear armbands, like you assume as a reference to Nazis, but you don't know. Yeah, that's fair. I got no idea in that regards. But it wouldn't surprise me. Like, as subtle as you can with a reference like that. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. Sossig. Sweet, sweet Sossig. If you haven't seen the creation of page 1, then you may not get this reference, but Lumen asked me to draw a sausage as one of the stand billboards, and I was like, no problem, and then I drew a little face on it, and then it became like just a running joke where it's like, it's Sossig. Have you seen Dishonored High Chaos playthroughs? Those are fucking wild. I've done Dishonored High Chaos playthroughs. They're awesome. I mean, they're insane, but they're awesome. Because you really like let loose on a High Chaos playthrough. You know, you just really unwind with a High Chaos playthrough. You don't need to worry about being detected. You don't need to worry about anything, really. You just gotta kill. It's gonna cause damage and make people fear you. I think once, and like, don't call the cops on me for this, but during a High Chaos playthrough, I think in Dishonored 2, you know, in the first area where you're still in the castle, I killed all but one of the guards, and then I spent a painstaking amount of time. Please, again, don't call cops on me. But I spent a painstaking amount of time to gather up all the dead bodies that were inside the castle area. I made a God, this is gonna be really weird. This is gonna be really horrible to admit, but I did it like because I was just playing a killer, basically. But I made a throne out of the corpses. Oh god, and I just noticed there are now 5 viewers just watching as I admit to something horrifying. And I made like a throne of bodies, and then one guard who was still who I'd knocked unconscious, I sat at the head of the, like, as like the king of the throne, and I set the throne on fire. Again, don't call cops on me. I'm not a madman. This was in a game. Promise. Oh. But if you wanted a sign for how things are going to go in this comic, that's what my imagination does. That's what my imagination gets to. Okay, that's the next thing. Need to hit the targets and come up. How many loops we got? Just the one. That and that, basically. Sent you a video about Discord, in Discord about one. Oh. This is this guy who's pissing. Yeah, dude just pissing off the edge. Incredible. Me doing that as peak Dishonored gameplay, because why not? Yeah, I had the time, and I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be a psychopath. Gonna do High Chaos, may as well be batshit crazy about it. Let's be honest. Like, I think that was probably the extent of the weird shit. Because, like, I hope I'm not a lunatic in saying this, but, like, admittedly, setting rats on people is kind of fun in Dishonored. And watching the rats, like, just, like, eat away at a corpse. In the comments, one comment says he still never lost a sword fight even when he died. That's true, he didn't. Technically, he didn't. And if anything, Corvo's doing, like, a good thing, because he, like, cemented that he would never win it. He would never lose a sword fight. I mean, not a good. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Corvo, even High Chaos hero. Have I seen PC Dishonored High Chaos playthroughs? No. Like on PC? If so, yeah, I think so. But they are super cool. Have you seen Dishonored High Chaos speedruns? Those are cool. Like hardcore. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on. That song's about like 11 minutes long, so anytime I hear it, I'm just like, quick, switch, move to something else. We don't need to hear this. And then we could, and Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, the song is playing, so perfect. Because currently playing through Dark Souls 1 on stream. And we're making our way to Gwyn. Gonna kick that dude's ass. And I'm thinking I might just play through like most of the main game for Dark Souls, and we won't do the DLC. And then because then we'll probably get through the game pretty quickly, and then we can move on to something else. Could be Dishonored, depending on how the vote goes. That cannot predict. If we get Witcher 3, then ultimately we're going to be playing that for a very long time. But yeah. That's all of them. All the ducks in a row. Give the... Where am I? There we go. Okay, cool. Nice colorful things. Next. Next. Done. Posture check. Actually, I do appreciate that because I definitely feel like I needed it. I wasn't in like prawn formation, but that's good. Sent me a video about cool playthroughs for how cool playthroughs for 1 hour. Watch the first minute and a half or so. I will do. I might watch it after stream. Brown. Yeah. But suck out. Just glanced over and saw that Clip Studios asking me if I wanted to cut this entire page because I think I hit scroll something. And like, no, I don't. Oh my god, can you imagine if I did that? I'd just be like, stream's over, guys. See you all next time. I'm fucking gonna go cry. I think I sat in on... That would be terrifying. Oh my god, I would be... Like, I could control Z and I'd be fine. But like, for a moment, my heart would probably, like, pause. I was sitting in on... I think it's Faye Cake's stream. Shout out to Faye, she's awesome. But Control Alt Z, right? No, just Control Z. Be fine. But I was sitting in on Faye's stream, and she was like a few days out from her deadline. She actually works to a deadline, unlike me, who's lazy and doesn't have a deadline. Sucked in. Love it a bits, of course. She's a great streamer. But then she was like looking through the current chapter that she was going to release in like a few days, and one of the panels was gone. And she was like, wait, where'd it go? And she hadn't realized that she'd accidentally deleted it at some point in the process and would not be able to get it back. And I have no, like, I was like in that stream and I was just like, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I don't want to be here for this. I felt so like I felt like I had secondhand tragedy. I felt that, and I was just like, I'm so sorry. And then I just like left because I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to be here for this moment. It was just heartbreaking, like really heartbreaking. But I think her webtoon is out. Very happy for her. I think she managed to recover it, or she's redone it. I don't know how she did. I might ask her next time I see her. But it's out, and it's great. Really, really good. Highly recommend it if people are into like anime stuff. Very, very good. Where are we at? Hey, next, what do you think of Sossig? The Sossigs. Hold on. Sossig. Sossig choir, if you will. Oh, a bit of an extra stretch because I think we're onto shadows now. And as I say that, I realize we are not. I've got one more thing to fill in. Got that. That. I mean, that's useful. That. And then I need to actually jump to a previous page. Don't read any of the writing. Alright, I haven't removed any of the writing. Don't read it. Don't spoil the comic for yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it. Stop reading it. Stop. Just grabbing this purple and delete. I mean, I'm not actually deleting it. Everybody, don't worry. Don't look. Go on. Go on, it's safe. My comic is safe. From spoilers. I say spoilers as if it's not the very first page of the comic. They haven't seen the illustrations already, but they know the writing that goes along with it. Can't have that. Not one fucking bit. Oh, I swore. I apologize. But I only apologize to Zombie Slayer. Everybody else, just deal with it. Swearing is just a part of who I am. Everyone but Zombie Slayer. I'm apologizing to Zombie Slayer specifically. Oh, I've been dickhead. Doesn't matter because the people in the VODs won't know. I'm not gonna say what song I'm listening to. If you want to know what song it is, people in the VODs, I'm talking to you now specifically. People who watch the VODs, thank you so much for watching, of course. Very much appreciate you all. Genuinely have been getting really great response from the VODs themselves. But I'm not telling you what songs I'm listening to. If you wanna enjoy that, check me out live. I stream pretty regularly, and you get music with that, as well as my stupid commentary. What's not to love? You get the sock in real time. That sounded weird. Right, red? No, not at all. But, man, doing what I said I wasn't going to do, but I'm going to have to jump back to a previous page. Going back in time, guys. But to this one, so you guys can't spoil anything yourselves. And I might keep that one open, because it'll be good to get a better idea what I was doing. Yeah. I always feel like I'm done with the coloring layer, and then I realize, oh yeah, I haven't colored in the stands. Bane of my existence. These little lines. Always the last thing I do. Not complicated at all. Should have done it sooner. It's my own fault. Still angry about it. Mouse, would I look at 2 more pictures in Discord? If that's okay? Yeah, I'll check them out. I will take a sneaky peek. These 2 are brothers. Yes! Oh my god, that gasp was actually real as well. The realization that I just had. Whalehead is Mortimer Ramsey's brother. Of course it is, because you hear his name. His name is Lord Ramsey. Shit, I did not even fucking realize. That's awesome. I mean, it makes sense as well. But it's a small world in the gentry of Dishonored and of Dunwall. So it makes perfect sense. But holy fuck, I did not think about that. That's super cool. That's great. Did not even realize. And because Mortimer Ramsey talks about his family being part of the aristocracy during the rat plague, and then it was all kind of taken away from them. God. And he blames Corvo and Emily, admittedly. Of course. It all makes sense. Just genuinely didn't think about that, but it makes sense. I think at the time, I just kind of like palmed it off as like, oh yeah, because ultimately, the change in the power dynamic from the Regent to Emily would have definitely shaken some of the old guard kind of gentry and stuff like that, and they wouldn't have known who to trust and things like that, and they would have weeded out people who were untrustworthy. So it wouldn't surprise me if his family were part of that kind of crossfire. And they're both in Dunwall. It's not like they are thousands of miles away, so it makes sense you'd see them both. Yeah, absolutely. It's not necessarily a small world kind of thing, but it's a small city kind of thing. So it does make sense that you would see them. That's also that's super cool. And it adds this kind of familiarity to the world that is so nice. Hey, hold on. Checking something. All good. Are we done with flat colors? Like it? Except for one thing. Fuck. And of course, them both being aristocrats makes it even more possible Corvo/Emily would have seen them. Yeah, just narrows the bubble. The last thing. This little tuft of wool. Okay. Alright, now, player. Let's go with shadows first. Saturation down to nothing. Value to mid. Multiply. Alright. Something that I'll need to color. I do not care. I could do that later. Fuck it. I want to do a different kind of coloring in now. Shadow coloring in. Oi, Nix. Does Canberra have a public holiday tomorrow? If Nex is still here. If Nex doesn't respond, then tragic, but also not completely unexpected. Disappointed, but not surprised. As I assume you know the name of the health elixir in 2. Yeah, it's the Piero Sokolov mixture, isn't it? Yeah, because then Hypatia's is the magic one now. Like Sokolov Joplin mixture, which is surprising that I still remember Piero's last name. But it's something along those lines. Yeah. I thought that was really nice. I really like that because they don't straight up tell you that the good ending is, or the low chaos ending is the canon one, but they subtly imply it. S&J Health Elixir, that's it, yeah. But yeah, I like that it doesn't straight up tell you that the good ending or the low chaos ending is the canon ending, but they do heavily imply it. Which I do like. Okay, we fill in the basic shadows. Basic shadows. Also, because his head is turned, we're actually going to get a lot more shadows. And a lot more of the highlights will be ambient kind of highlights. They'll be more faded, I would assume. And I say assume as if I'm not the guy drawing the shadows. If it did that, would be kind of boring. Yeah, absolutely. Then the high chaos ending, at least story-wise, serves no purpose. So whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be canon is canon. Yeah, that's fair. Other than the ending where you drop Emily off the tower and she dies. That one, that like absolute worst ending. Like because there's a bad ending or the high chaos ending, and then there's the absolute worst ending where you just let her fall off. That one's definitely not canon. We can all agree there. I think all us Dishonored fans can agree that one's probably not canon. Yeah, 100% evil. Yeah, exactly. That one's probably not it. Or when you do high chaos, you're just like, cool, I'm all in. I'm all in for murder and bad shit. And then like Samuel, the guy, the boatman, Samuel the boatman. You do full evil. He's just like, I hope that I don't see you again. And it's also implied that he's caught the rat plague, so he's like he's gonna die. And he doesn't like you at all. He's just like, I don't know why I didn't let them poison you and kill you and stuff like that. Um, but like then you just shoot him as he's at as he sends you off. Real dark, real dark. The bad ending is real bad, real tragic. I do feel bad. Like this, the PNG model doesn't have motion tracking because every so often, like when the music is really like banging real good, I just like do a little bit of a jig. I'd love for the model to just like dance a little bit every so often. At least whenever I do. I'm gonna try and care a little bit less about like making everything as neat as possible. I kind of like the rougher style. It works a little bit better for what I do. And I do have aspirations for where I want my art style to kind of go. And by the end of all of this, like comic series and stuff like that, I'd hope I'd be at that point. But it's likely to change and probably change quite consistently. But like, I'm gonna spend a little less emphasis on making sure everything is perfect. I don't want everything to be clean anymore. I don't want clean lines in the same way I used to. I'm actually embracing imperfection for my work. As a result, it should also get the work done faster. And in a weird way, I find that it looks better when it's not quite so perfect. I can kind of do without perfect lines and the like multiple layers of draft work that ultimately just make the process longer. Yeah. Yeah. even need to be this close. His face, just shadows. Back up a bit. Ah, that's shite. I don't need the shadow there. Damn it. Yeah. I think I can add more shadows to a shadow layer. How that works. I mean, it is not necessarily how that works. I can definitely add more shadow. No way I would need to though. Wanted to. 5 layers of shadow. Mouse, what else do I know of that people said about 2? Other than I haven't heard a whole lot about like what people have thought of 2 or what people thought of 2, honestly. I know definitely like people were in awe of the art style. And one thing I do love about the art style is that a lot of the faces in the world, they were molded from clay first and then painted as oil paintings, and then well, no, they were molded from clay first and then scanned into the game, and then like the coloring of their face was painted with oil paints first. And as a result, like genuinely, Dishonored 2 is still to this day one of the most beautiful games out there. From clay, the fuck, that's so cool. Yeah, so there are actually like clay statue heads at Arcane Entertainment that are from the game. Both Dishonored and Prey do this. They use this system, and as a result, like genuinely, the faces and like bodies of the people have this kind of weight that don't exist in other games because they almost feel tangible. always viewed Dishonored art style at oil painting, but never knew for sure. Yeah, yeah. It was like definitely an oil painting origin kind of style, but they added the clay sculpting to Dishonored 2, and I definitely think it adds to the weight of style and density of the style, I think. I really do think that the characters have this kind of dense visual appeal, where they look like they would actually like weigh as much as a human, whereas some games kind of struggle with that. Dishonored kind of does that effortlessly. Hard thing to explain, but like the bodies feel like the characters feel like they have weight when you see them. And I don't think that's just like the sound design or the motion design or things like that. It's like the design of the characters themselves, if you catch my meaning. They somehow did an absolutely amazing job and nailed it. Yeah, I think because they just went all in with the that kind of level of effort and passion with it. They were like, why not, if we're gonna make a game, let's make it fucking beautiful. How do we do that? Uh, let's just go all out on the art style. And yeah, it looks super fucking good. And one thing I think maybe not game designers but artists overlook is that a great deal of design, like the beauty of design and art, comes from the shadow work. And Dishonored had some excellent like shadow design. And with the sculpting and stuff, it added this more real kind of shadow work that is just so cool because they also illuminated the sculptures, so they knew how to accurately shade faces and things like that. Despite one looking depressing as shit, it's still gorgeous. Yeah, absolutely. It has and its art style still holds up, though graphically a little dated. It still holds up in a way that is rare for games of its time. adding shadows to a street that you can hardly see is not going to do much. Move on. Hugely care for that kind of look. So. Got this kind of like sense. I was just like, oh god, I didn't realize how tired I was until like a moment ago, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna sleep well tonight, I think. Way better. Much better. Mouse, in the mission you capture Sokolov, did you use a sync 3 times? I did not. What happens if you use a sync 3 times? You only know this song due to Ratatouille. It is the song from Ratatouille. So, good ear. I am Grey Mouse after all, so of course I have a song from Ratatouille in my playlist. I really like it, that's the thing. I actually enjoy Le Festin as a song. Like, no joke, like, not even joking. In the last area of the mission, you get Sokolov. If you use the sync 3 times, it opens a secret door and there's some loot. Gah. I can't be sure if I have discovered that or not. I just don't remember the 3 syncs. The sync 3 times tactic, so I probably didn't get it. So, play through it again. Make sure I get it. You believe me, this song fucking slaps. It's great. It's a good song. Yeah. Good stuff. I thought I'd just add it to my playlist because it's just like, yeah. And then people will be like, wait a second, song from Ratatouille? I'm like, yeah, guess whose stream you're in? The Mouses. Rat Boy. No, not rat, just mouse. But you get it. You get it. Well, actually, Ratatouille isn't about mice, it's about rats. Yeah. But in that sense, I'm not. None of the music from Tale of Despero slaps in the same way the music from Ratatouille does, or Stuart Little. I think Stuart Little's a rat as well. Doesn't matter. Ratatouille is the closest I can get to a cinematic parallel. That's not what I'm looking for. That's fine. I love that you did the actually. Yeah, I recognize the reference. I'm gotta represent. Gotta represent where I can. With the nerd voice. With the corrections voice. Actually. Apologies, audience, if you dislike that sound. I can only apologize. Cheeky giggle in the nerd voice. Panels, did I just do an... Yeah, I just did underlayers. Okay, cool. That's fine then. So then that's them done, which is nice, because this is where it gets complicated. Well, not so much complicated, but detailed. Ugh. Mouse, what's a game mechanic you'll always hate for the rest of time? It could be anything from any game. Drowning physics. That's one. It's a real can of worms, I think. So drowning physics, any survival game that... So one thing that I've been apprehensive to play Subnautica because of the breathing physics and the breathing underwater physics, but also because if hunger and thirst isn't done well, drowning physics. Please explain. Just breathing underwater. So some games will like set up you have no idea what that is. Yeah. So in some games, so Subnautica is a perfect example. You are limited to how long you can breathe underwater or how long you can hold your breath underwater. Just taking a sip of water, ironically. But as a mechanic, it's not like a bad idea, of course, but I hate it. It stresses me the fuck out. Because anytime you dive under the water, you have a time limit. And the time limit is usually 30 seconds or thereabouts. Oh yeah, okay, that can be done very wrongly. Kind of like Dead Space 1, there's no places with oxygen. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So actually that's a really good point. I'll extend it out to just no oxygen mechanics. They can be very easy, like it's a fair enough mechanic, very easy to do wrong, I think, is the distinction. Um I also find like the same for, to a lesser degree, but the same for food and hunger bars in games. If they're done well, they're a great way to add challenge to a game. If done badly, they can just ruin the game. Especially if there's areas, if especially if there's enemies in that same area as you have no oxygen. Yeah, because then it's just stressful. Like really, it is just more stressful as a result. Yeah. Other game mechanics. I really hate that the creators of Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War patented the Nemesis mechanic, the Nemesis system, which is a really cool aspect to games, but because they patented it, no one is allowed to use it, and they have no intentions of ever using it again. Because at times it can be no oxygen plus fighting enemies, or no oxygen and then you have to get oxygen and only then you'll fight enemies. Yeah, it's really frustrating. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan if it's done badly. If it's done well, fair enough. And I think with Subnautica, it's fair enough because you can upgrade that. And again, with Dishonored, not Dishonored, Dead Space, you can also upgrade it, so it's fine. Ugh, really, I didn't know they had a stranglehold on the Nemesis system. Yeah, it's why no one's allowed to use the Nemesis system because it's patented. And it's such a huge waste of potential because they also have no intention of releasing another Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor kind of game. Because Shadow of War did so badly because they included loot box systems and stuff like that. I know some studio had a mechanic where you could play a game while your game is loading, but only they can do that. Ugh, I hate that. Patenting, like, putting a patent on things like that is so frustrating because it's like, cool, you had one good idea. Like, one good idea that could be implemented really well if it was allowed to be, like, allowed to grow. And the fact that you put a patent on it has guaranteed that it will die. Hey, Gwendolyn, nice to see you. Welcome to my chat. Uh, you wanted to get a little bit of an update on the comic. This is where we're at currently. We're on page 3. Lovely to see you. You were, oops, sorry. I remember you from Giggles' chat. I think. Vaguely. Thank you, thank you. We're currently on page 3. This is page 2. Oh, zoomed out too much. I mostly do illustration streams. And I'm currently working through a comic called Ratchet and the Beanstalk Brigade, which is based on it's based on a D&D campaign that was never finished. It never found a conclusion, so I'm currently working on developing one. We follow the main character, Ratchet, who is a goblin rogue. He's currently on screen now, in all his glory. And yeah, and yeah, that's kind of like we're working on releasing or getting chapter 1 finished so that we can release it. And this is currently page 3 of chapter 1. They're currently doing shadow work and filling in shadows and shadow spaces. But hey, how you doing? How's your week or weekend been? Doing good. Played some Dark Souls today, and you got a bit of stuff done in the house. Hey, awesome. I mean, that's great for productivity. But also Dark Souls, that's awesome. I'm currently playing through Dark Souls on stream as well. So I'm super keen to hear about how you're going in it. What area are you up to? And how you're liking it as well. If you've played it before, do you like the game? If it's your first time, how are you enjoying it? Something you'll hate forever is single player games that need internet. Screw that for all time. Also, if you're not aware of what we're currently chatting about, we're just currently talking about game mechanics that we hate. So also feel free to weigh in on that as well. Started a new character today, rang the bells, and made it to Anor Londo. Nice, very impressive. Yeah, on my last stream, I think I got to Blighttown before ending the stream. You've played some before but never finished the game solo. Ooh, excellent. And Zombie Slayer. Oh, that's great. Maybe you could teach Mouse a few things about Dark Souls. It's his first playthrough. So, Zombie Slayer loves to let people know that it's my first playthrough. It's not. I've played through a few times. A bit of a prankster, bit of a japist. Japist is a terrible word. I'm never going to say that again. He likes to jape. No, I can't use that word. Yeah. But yeah, bit of a prankster. I've played through it many, many times. Zombie Slayer is just a liar. Sounds a lot like another bad word. Yeah, don't say it. Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, I just realized that sounds pretty bad. And I'm just like, I'm not going to say it again. No, the hell, I'm not Mouse. You don't lie about anything. Yeah, that in itself is a fascinating sentence. You willing to swear on your love of Dishonored that you're not a liar? Huh? Huh? Swear on the Bible of Dishonored? Huh? Willing to do that? That you're not a liar? That you're an honest zombie slayer? Getting a lot of silence from you, zombie slayer. And he was all chat before, all talk before, now quiet, suspiciously quiet. Can't swear on the Bible of Dishonored. Well, you don't even play Dishonored. You have no idea what I'm talking about. I've seen some gameplay of it. Is it one of those multiplayer games? Oh man, starting to learn that Zombie Slayer might be a compulsive liar. Not only is he not honest and a bit of a prankster, maybe he's compulsive. Oh dear. Oh dear. Learning so much about my chat. It's fine, of course. Compulsive liars are welcome here. Weird thing to support and encourage, but I'm okay with it. Maybe my awful memory just isn't helping me right now. Hey, Nad. Alright, so I can tolerate lying. I can't tolerate gaslighting. They're basically the same thing, they're both words. Yeah, in a basic sense of things, yes, they're both words. You got me there. This fucking guy. 'Love him to bits, but he's a real cheeky sod. Anything, you're the Dishonored fanboy, not me. I hate those Call of Duty type games. We both love Dishonored though. Both big fans of Dishonored, surely. And if you don't like Dishonored, then fair enough. Just add it to the banned words. Can you imagine if someone joined chat and like Dishonored was a banned word? Be like, what the hell happened here? Why the hell does Grahamhouse not like Dishonored? Like, why will he not allow Dishonored to be a thing? Because then if we don't want to talk about Dishonored, no one gets to talk about Dishonored. That would be hilarious. Can you imagine I just ban some random word and then, like, in my chat, maybe it doesn't happen for like years, but like one day someone just like says the banned word in chat and they just get like timed out and they're completely shocked. They're just like, wait, but I wrote banana bread and I got banned. I got timed out because I wrote banana bread in chat. What? And like, because we all know. So we just like strategically don't say banana bread in chat or never talk about it. I mean, not strategically. You could probably get it through your life without saying it. But like, it's like we just have this secret banned word. I'd probably do that. I would do something like that. I mean, it's a cruel joke to play on new people, of course, but like, kind of funny. You just come up with a secret word. I'll add it to the Nightbot command, and if someone ever says it, then it doesn't have to be a timeout or a ban, but maybe we'll just be like, secret word. Or, you know what, let's just ban him. Let's just ban him for saying the secret word. No, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Funny, but fucked up. Because you know, if I did something like that, like, I would get in, like, the Twitch news, and it'd be like, this streamer has been banning people for saying banana bread, or, you know, or some random word. Tater tots. Bans people. He has a chat command that bans people. He's the new problematic streamer. And it's just like, it would start off as a joke. Okay, Lying Zombie Slayer is gone now. I also hate collectible achievements. If you're going to do them, at least let you know how much missions you've got for all the collectibles. Or, so it's not awful. Yeah. What if secret word was the banned word? Yeah. Oh, if secret word was the banned word? That's confusing. I love it. I might. I'm so tempted to just set up a secret word and tell no one. But like knowing my luck, hold on. Knowing my luck, like as soon as I set that up, someone's gonna say it, and it's gonna be someone from like someone who raids, and it's gonna be like maybe like Callie, like Calypsio, and so that the raider is like super lovely, but then they just get banned because they accidentally said secret word. Because one of my lovely chatters tricked them into saying secret word. Because I know, like, as soon as I set that up, one of you fuckers is gonna do something like that. And why would I blame you? Yeah, that wouldn't be the best of first impressions. Yeah, God, yeah. Imagine I make raid just the secret word and they come in and go like, raid, and then they're just gone. That's horrible. That's so horrible. I mean, funny, but so horrible. They're just like, woo, banned. It's just like, message deleted, banned. Like, what did I do? Oh my god, what did I do? It's like, so, so terrible. That's the sort of stuff that does make me laugh, though. Like, I have an awful sense of humor, but that in itself is stuff that just makes me giggle. I know something like that happened in Red Dead Redemption 2 to a streamer. He had to do the mission where he had to take money from poor people and beat them up if they didn't give it, and at that mission he got raided. Oh. Yeah? Damn. I remember I think so. Callie is this amazingly wonderful streamer, super, super lovely, super friendly. But I knew I had changed my stream schedule recently, and I was like, I'm streaming at around about the same time as her, but I'll be streaming slightly longer than her. So there is a potential that I'll be raided by her. And I was, but I saw the raid notification. I was like, oh, okay. Well, no, I was preparing. I was like, Callie will possibly raid me, and I gotta make sure I'm on my best behavior because my chat can be a little bit cursed, and I can be a little bit cursed sometimes. So I wanted to be like as prim and proper as possible if they did come in. And then they raided. The first thing I said was shit, and so it's like, well, great. There goes my first impression with most of Callie's chat. Some of them know me because I'm in her chat quite a lot, but like, yeah, it's just like fuck, and then like half of them left. And I was like, oh. Which was to be expected, because yeah, I fit in more with Nev's chat than I do Callie's chat, because I'm cursed as fuck. Good lord, that sounds awful. Oh, it was very funny. It was very funny. I have like I think at the end of the day, I never came to Twitch with the intention of like getting followers or building a huge community or anything like that. Sure, if it happens, that's awesome. That's amazing. But originally, my intention for these streams was to motivate me to continue on the comic, because I find that I am immensely passionate about things, like all sorts of things, and I give like 110% to things, but I burn out quickly. So that's why I started streaming, so that I could maintain a schedule on this comic. And as a result, I've actually made so much progress, and it's been amazing. But yeah, if I have situations like that, I don't mind being like unfiltered and completely honest, because it's just like, if I didn't get like a ton of followers from doing that, that's totally cool, because I'm not in this to get followers. I'm here to meet cool people like Zombie Slayer and Brown Coat Loki and people like that, and Nev and all that. I'm here to just have a good time and work on my comic. Mouse, I want your opinion on something for your Dead Space project thing. Yeah, go for it. This is the one where you're tracking the outbreak, isn't it? Tell me if I'm wrong. I assume I'm not. I'm rarely wrong. Very narcissistic, me, but you know. Should you count the number of bloodstains because you feel like that helps in some way? Uh, if an area has more bloodstains, you could assume that there are had more people in it, but you don't think that's necessarily true. And yes, it's about tracking the outbreak. Cool. Bloodstain. So actually, it's very interesting that you should come to me about this stuff. Not only because I've played Dead Space, but I studied statistics. So tracking out the outbreak through bloodstains is potentially a viable way of quantifying the population of a certain area for sure. With that in mind, like in terms of data, you can never collect enough data. So that is a perfect way of including or increasing the data pool that you are getting. However, I would say that with a resource like that, it would not be quite as quantifiable. So you would want to be careful about using it. You would use it to reinforce your evidence, but ultimately it would not be the foundation, if that makes sense. So you wouldn't want that to be like the foundation of your research, but it would be a very useful tool in quantifying population numbers of the Ishimura, expanding on the outbreaks, infection rate, things like that. Like obviously, if an area has a huge amount of bloodstains, you could reasonably assume that it's from a lot of people and not just one person per bloodstain. Yeah, absolutely. In that case, that makes perfect sense. That would be a very useful way of making it, of using that. It's not the main argument, just an argument. Yeah, absolutely. It makes perfect sense then. I would say go for it. Because that does help provide context. And in terms of statistics, context is very useful. Because statistics, no matter how inclusive your statistics, it's not all generalizable. I talk a lot about being a dumb mouse on these streams. I was going to be a scientist at one point. So that just goes to show we could have been living in a terrifying universe where Raymas did not become an artist and was just a scientist. I was just doing statistical science and analysis. No one would have wanted that. No one would have wanted that. You're counting bodies, and that already makes a lot of sense. Yeah, exactly. Counting bodies will definitely be like the meat of the study sandwich. A science to an artist. Good Lord, talk about range. Well, at university, I had originally planned on studying sciences, yes. Well, it bounced around quite a lot. I originally studied psychology, and then I went on to study clinical psychology. And then through there, I studied things that included behavioral neuroscience and statistics. And statistics is one of the main bodies of my studies and my research. And then I was like, fuck this. This is boring. It's not boring. It's actually immensely fascinating. But I also loved art. So I stopped. Well, I didn't stop. I graduated and then I stopped doing it. Because at one point I had considered going on to doing a PhD and a master's. But just wasn't on the cards, I think. Especially during that period of my life where when you study like at a university, you get to a certain point and then you're just like, I want to get the fuck out of here. And I was at that point. Yeah, I used to do brain chemistry and stuff. Now look at me, I'm fucking drawing wood grain and ducks. That's such a classic kind of like, look at me now. Like, I went to Juilliard. It's just like, I studied chemical neuroscience and like physiological neuroscience and psychological statistics and things like that, or population statistics, clinical statistics. Here I am drawing ducks. I love that. I love that dichotomy. Such a scary world where I'm in that important of a position. Yeah, god damn. Like, I would be terrified to be in that position. Just not my place. It's just not, it was never like my place. I was good at it, but I also didn't derive the right kind of joy from it. I wasn't passionate about it in the way I'm passionate about this stuff. The lab coat was cool, and the idea of being called Dr. Grey Mouse was great. But that didn't sustain the years of study. The idea of a cool lab coat and being called Dr. Gary Mouse. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm called Grey Mouse because my actual name is Dr. Gary Mouse. My name is Gary Mouse. Drawing cute little duckies for random gamers on the internet, that sounds a lot better. Oh yeah, it's a much more peaceful. And I wouldn't want it any other way. Love it. You can believe it. I do this shit for fun. Not even a job. Just do it because I love it. Hold up, your real name is close to your Twitch name? Yeah, I chose Grey Mouse because Grey, Gary, or Gary, and Mouse, but spelt M-O-U-S-S-E. I've just doxed myself. Mouse, what else should I be looking at for that? Could help determine the tracking of the outbreak. Fuck, good question. Good question. Little things. So detecting an outbreak, so detecting the path of an outbreak, you could probably look at defenses. Where were defenses put in place, and where were defenses utilized? So dead necromorphs in certain areas. The population of dead necromorphs as well in certain areas. That would probably be fascinating data. The audio logs and certain so audio logs would also be quite useful. In that some of them kind of give evidence to when the outbreak hits in those areas. You're looking for writing on walls, but of course that could be a lot of writings were written by one person. Sure, but that would be a secondary source of information, still immensely useful. Because in this sense, we're also kind of tracking a historical case, because we are not on the scene when it happens. We are coming after it has had its effect on everything. So it's almost you also use historical kind of rules or tracking of historical occurrences. So yeah, you use secondary sources of information, bloodstains, bodies, audio, text logs, writing on the walls. Yeah, absolutely, all very useful. I guess also something that would be quite useful is structural damage. So that would have to be accompanied by appropriate audio logs and information and resources. But there are certain areas of the Ishimura that are destroyed, and that could probably quite conclusively provide insight to alterations and changes in the environment, which would have caused or exacerbated or stressed the outbreak. Things like that. Population of necromorphs, so living necromorphs, the higher population, so like mycelium, mold, or pestilence, or insect genealogy, the highest population of necromorphs would also probably dictate origin points. And then you'll connect things with Dead Space Downfall movie and Dead Space Extraction. It's about what Nicole did during the outbreak. Very useful resources for sure. Yeah. Those will actually probably provide a pretty good resource and like outline of locations, because it's when it happened. Yeah, but and also it's a perfect opportunity to corroborate your resources. Glad you asked me about that, because I sat up straight as well. When you asked me that question, I was like, statistics, and then I sat up straight. The entire time I've been talking, I've been sitting up, like, good posture. The entire time. Fucking dork. You think about counting necromorphs, but concluded that necromorphs we see and kill could have migrated just whenever, and that they didn't necessarily go there to spread the outbreak. That's absolutely a very fair point. And ultimately, because, any information like that may as well be taken with a grain of salt, because admittedly it is still a game. And so you could quantify that, the higher population of necromorphs is due to its origin, like the origin point of the outbreak and stuff like that, or because the game is progressively gets more difficult, so the number of necromorphs naturally increases anyway. So game difficulty does not necessarily mean or does not necessarily provide evidence for origin point. Should you be counting the amount of different necromorphs? You very easily could, but of course, in chapter 1, we only see leapers and slashes that obviously had no law implications. It's just the devs not giving us too much all at once. Yeah, and I would say it's probably that. And we don't, again, it's the same kind of rule. It's like, is it the game getting harder or are we reaching the origin point? And it could be one or the other. Correlation does not equal causation. Which is one of the hard, like the painful things about statistics, is that no matter what kind of information you have, correlation does not equal causation. And there are always faults with any study. Perfect example of correlation doesn't equal causation, or taking information with a grain of salt. One of the most famous studies, or one of the most famous rules that's used often in film, is a test known as the Bechdel test. The Bechdel test, basically, for those of you who do not know, is a study that implies a film does not pass the Bechdel test if there aren't more than two women, and they talk to and they have to talk to each other, but they can't talk about a man. So their conversation cannot be about men. So if a film has more than two women in it, and they talk about something other than men, then it passes the Bechdel test. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. This test has no statistical origin, and as a result, it is filled with limitations and faults. Counting necromorphs does make sense, but as you said, they could be just walking around just because and with no purpose. Exactly. Yeah, it's too broad of a potential for it to be measurable. But yeah, so the Bechdel test is like a famous pop culture test for films, but it actually has no statistical, like, notational value. And a perfect example of how to, like, kind of trick the Bechdel test, or not trick the Bechdel test, but to use the Bechdel test in a way that actually isn't for its purpose, is films that are progressive and progressive with depictions of female-led characters actually don't pass it, because at some point in the film they will talk about a man, and because that limitation is so unwavering, it actually causes, and yes, you're aware of the Bechdel test, yeah, it actually causes the progressive film to fail, whereas a film such as Mad Max Fury Road, which is a film that depicts some women as cattle, passes the Bechdel test because there are multiple women in it and they do not talk about men. Or they do not talk about the men in their lives. Which I'm not like, my intention is never to disassemble stuff like that, because it actually does provide conversation and understanding that there should be more positive depiction of women in film. However, I do find it fascinating to look at stuff like that and faults in statistical study and analysis. I've come up with not a similar, but I've come up with a study of films, and it's not a test so much, but it's a rule, in that it's called the Denethor effect. And basically it outlines that if you see any character on film or on screen eat, you will immediately be distanced from them. So you'll feel emotionally distanced from them, so you'll actually dislike them slightly. And the perfect example of that, and where the namesake comes from, is Denethor of Lord of the Rings, where he eats a cherry tomato and food and stuff really disgustingly, and as a result, you are instantly made to detest him as a character. But this effect happens even with characters you're supposed to like. If they're depicted on screen eating, then you'll like them less. You'll innately like them less. Which I find interesting. So it's not a general film rule, but it's something to keep in mind, that if you were to actually make a film, maybe don't have a character eat on screen unless you want them to be hated. Just realized we've almost hit about 3 hours. Right. Bit right out. Getting really close to finishing. Well, how close am I actually to finishing the shadows? Probably not as close. Yeah, like decently close. Probably not close enough to get it all done tonight. That being said, and I do feel my voice going. Man, I love sticks. The best. Oh, I love this like little sausage face. Shrouded in shadow. Shrouded in light. Just actually do that because the shelf above him. Shelf above the wee lad. They should all really have shelf shadowing. Ambient shadow. Alright. But I think since we've hit the 3 hour mark, I might call it there and we'll pick up next time. Oh, speaking of Denethor eating, is it true, possible that he is going crazy because I think the type of tomato he is eating off of the plate exposed the lead, and the lead exposed the lead, and the lead goes into his body, thus made him go a bit insane. And yes, I know that the reason he went insane was from Sauron. You heard about the tomato theory sometime. Oh, probably. Ultimately, there's a lot to read into with Lord of the Rings. Um, none of it I know for certain, but there are things like that which do not surprise me at all. But with that said, made some really good progress today. Very happy with how it's all turned out. And I might do a cheeky raid out. Who we got? Oh, Nev. Just saying some nice things about Nev. We also got Agonizing Puddle. doesn't appear to be showing up on my raid thing. What got Noir? You could calculate. You think that the word of the amount of the marker corruption on the walls, but you don't know how much. You don't know how to do that since a lot of places have it. Yeah, that's fair. That might be too broad, and it would be a pain in the ass to quantify and collect. But if you feel like once you do a lot of the research, if you feel like maybe it's not enough evidence, then maybe you could pull it all together. And if it feels necessary, then maybe you could calculate it. Besides pictures, you don't know how to do it. Besides pictures, you don't know how to do it. That's fair. Honestly, that's fair. You wouldn't want to do too much, I think. No, you wouldn't like. You'll see how how much data you can gather from what you've got, and if you feel it's not enough, then sure, maybe do that. But I don't think it's necessary. And you don't know if it's on the surfaces of the walls or if it's embedded in between. You don't know. That's fair. That's fair. It might just be a huge pain in the ass, so I would say it's probably not worth it at that point. But would be a very interesting thing to look into. All right. Nev's got 151 people in. Is that how statisticians think? I don't know. I'm not a statistician. I'm just a man. I'm just a mouse who likes statistics. It like ultimately I keep like fucking up that word. Statistically speaking, there are a lot of qualities to consider, and when it comes to a general study, or how statistics students think, when it comes to a study that has potential for a lot of measuring, you can never be certain of what you'd want to include. So, and also in real studies, you don't always have the right budget or the right amount to actually study everything that you mean to study. So usually you would specify and then broaden if there is potential for further fit, if that makes sense. So with that said, I'm going to start the raid to Nev. We can absolutely chat about this more in later streams. But thank you all so much for joining me. This has been really good. Raid Grey Mouse. I'm raiding Nev. Nev is the next best thing because Nev is a better artist than me. She's fucking amazing. Love her art to bits. It's a little bit cursed, but a little bit good. And by a little bit good, I mean really, really good. So give her some love from the Gramoose. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.